All right, let me take a look here. Scroll down. Okay. Work in progress, needs a lot of editing down to get it to the 300. Okay, I'll take a look. Okay. Okay. Lack of affirming. Okay. So here's the statement that we're trying to support throughout. And so I need 15 sources that basically say that is true, that there's a lack. Okay, I would not say this. I'd say this is relevant and needs to be there, but I would not say it supports this. I'd say require. It's a little less hyperbolic. They don't force. It's T, G, and C go to. They want certain things. In order to get those certain things, there are requirements. So force sort of says you're doing it to somebody that's sort of not acting at all. But this is a situation in which TGNC are asking or wanting a service, and in order to get that service, they're required to do something that they may not be satisfied with. We don't italicize because that's, again, you're pushing sort of an agenda there as sort of saying, I don't know what you're saying. I think a lot of this could go in the intro. And then you have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 sources. Seven, 8, 9, 10, 11. Except that Hendrickson is the same. Qatari is the same. McCullough is the same. So that makes it 8. Total. 8 total. I would but leave the lack of knowledge or competency. This is just evidence of that. This is the way it takes form. See, there are no new sources there, so I can't add to the 8 that you have. Okay, I would consider okay, well, this is good content. So it might belong in chapter 2 lit review. What needs to happen here, what you need here is more citations, discussion from other authors, that there is the lack of affirming, right? I'm coming back to this and saying questioning what does affirming mean. I think it means telling people that what you believe is acceptable and fine. I think maybe the problem is that is not that there is a lack of affirming mental health services. maybe the problem is the that TGNC people feel neglected. It's the same side of the same coin, or a different side of the same coin. But some would say, well, maybe it's not the place of mental health services to affirm. That's a scientific question, and sort of an ethical question as well. But I'm not sure you can start with that premise that, I mean, the lack sounds like a bad thing. Okay, there's a problem. There's something missing. But it's the something missing that I'm not sure, while you and I might agree that there should be people that are, maybe the problem could be that there should be people trained to be supportive, competent, I kind of like this one better, because I think no matter what your belief on affirming their gender identity or not, we could say that all people, regardless of any belief or any gender identity or any crazy, if they had some strange paraphilia, as long as it's not breaking a law, can we not say about everyone that they should have mental health professionals trained to be competent to serve them without, and I think if we don't pigeonhole ourselves into saying how that service, there are a lot of different opinions, I think, and that could be part of the problem of what is competence. But I think this statement is pretty fair, and it doesn't have any premise that I think anybody would disagree with, unless they just don't believe that transgender and non-gender non-conforming people deserve competent mental health treatment. And we may all have different views on exactly what that is or what length that goes to, but we need people that are experts. Everyone needs to be able to find experts who understand them and what they are struggling with. Of course, if this were a very unique, which TGNC is not very unique, it is somewhat unique, but it is not extremely rare. But if this were like, well, I want to marry a light bulb and make light bulb babies, then you're not going to have people trained for that. But when there's a large group, I think there's a case to be made where TGNC people, we need to have certain, if not, certain mental health professionals trained and prepared to work with this population. You know, and to understand and provide support, you don't have to always agree. So I think that's important. I was trained as a counselor, and I would say, you know, if somebody comes in with a views different than me, religious, maybe they've got something, a different gender identity I don't understand, I at least need to, if I'm going to serve people, I need to opt out if I can't help people. But I think that in order to serve the most people, if that's the goal you have as a mental health professional, not that you're going to serve everybody, but if you're going to accept transgender and not gender non-conforming clients, you need to be trained. And there need to be enough people trained so that TGNC people don't have to go to another state or another area to find someone that will be good and competent. Those are my thoughts, and I think that's a problem you should support. One way to change this simply is change, if you can, to what I am proposing. Now, there may be sort of some issue with what I just wrote, that one does not have to affirm one's gender identity to support them therapeutically. But it is the therapist's duty to take on the goals of the patient, client. It's not about what the therapist thinks of the client. It's about the therapist being supportive and taking the client's perspective. That's what we're trained to do. We're not trained to agree with everybody. MHPs are not trained to agree with everyone, but they are trained to help those that need help in competent ways. I would suggest that you consider that it should not be a requirement, as it is not in that the MHP agree or affirm exactly what the client believes. The MHP's personal, that's possessive, opinion is not part of the process unless their negativity toward the client or the client belief is detrimental to the service rendered. All right, that's what I've got. That's what I want you to think about. I know you're making a case for this being a problem, but it's really this. You can be non-affirming. It's really not about whether you agree or disagree. As therapists, we're taught not to be open about, like, you know, I really love that you are a Christian, or I really love that you are a Buddhist, or I really love that you're a man or a woman or trans or whatever it is. It's, can I take the perspective? Can I understand you and help you? It's not, therapy is not about getting approval. It is about the MHP personal belief is not at play unless it is obviously detrimental. And I think I just wrote that the second time. Harassment, discrimination, refusal of care are all inappropriate and unacceptable. to whoever. I want you to hear me well on that last part. It's regardless of whether this, they may not, you know, when they go home and they have their own beliefs about stuff, maybe you're saying affirming practices, or supportive. I'll probably call you about this before I publish it. All right, thank you.